those politicians that are always striving for more power, the athletes that are just pushing themselves to the limit again and again to try and be the best. You know, those colleagues next to you who are workaholics working long hours to get that next promotion. Or those kids you sat next to at school that couldn't get anything wrong. It was so painful. They're so perfectionistic. What do these people have in common? They're being driven by something, driven really, really hard. And it's a core belief about themselves that they're not good enough in some way, that they're not good enough, they're bad, they're unlovable, that they're wrong, that they don't deserve to live in some cases. These are deficiency stories, and they run our lives and they run the whole world. When you look around at different people on the TV, on the street, the way everyone's running after status, power, money, survival in some guise, that's what is driving them. And in this video, we're going to look at what that is, these deficiency stories, why they're so important, because this isn't just some side issue, like some sort of niche psychological concern that you know is kind of academic. It's like the vast majority of your life, you are being driven by these beliefs within you to go after whatever it is you go after during the day. And why it doesn't work to try and follow these beliefs and what we can do instead. So what is this core deficiency story? And credit here goes to Scott Killaby in particular for that term and his work here. Also, Peter Ralston covers a similar issue in his books. He calls it the bottom line rather than the deficiency story, but the idea is the same. So the idea is these beliefs, we take them on in order to keep ourselves safe. They're like a key that turns a lock on a part of ourselves that we can't let to the surface. So say when you're small, you know, you might get criticized by your parents, say, and this wound comes up, this feeling of vulnerability and pain and shame. That's so painful. It's like I can't feel that. It's unimaginable that I will feel that. So we repress it, we push it down, because our parents aren't there to help us deal with it. They're busy criticizing us, right? And we're left alone as this small child. That's like life or death. And so we'll repress that. But to keep it repressed, we have to invent a story about ourselves that will keep it repressed. And this is the function of this deficiency story and why we keep it around, what we actually get out of it. So say there's this wound I have when I'm being judged. I might believe that I'm not good enough. That's the story I take on unconsciously, right? I'm not doing this with my conscious mind. It's all very, very unconscious. Because then, say I have a natural desire to sing next week, right, in front of my parents. That'll start to come up. But then it's like, well, if I sing, I might get criticized again by my parents. And then this pain will come up again. I'll have to feel it. And that's not going to happen. So bam, the deficiency story kicks in. He goes, I'm not good enough. You push the singing down. And it keeps that part under lock and key. And in this way, we sort of go through life reducing the risk and staying safe from these painful emotions and wounds. And these wounds can be of all different types. And the beliefs can be of all different flavors. That they tend to be, the core ones tend to be, you know, around being not good enough in some way. Like I'm weak, I'm unlovable, I'm worthless, something like that. I'm bad. And how this comes out can come out in different ways. So we've seen one already where that belief, its function is to hold our authentic expression back. So it holds back the singing that wants to come out, the dancing, or there's some opinion we want to express, or there's something, you know, we want to do something in the world, we want to go and play outside, but we're afraid that mum won't approve or something. On the flip side, it can also come out in more overt expression. So if I take on this belief, okay, I'm not good enough, that might drive me into more action. So I might practice singing every day. Instead of not singing at all, I might go into singing all the time, getting singing lessons, practicing as hard as I can to be the best singer I possibly can, which is actually doing the same thing just by the opposite means. So it's like, if I can become perfect at singing, then I won't be criticized and then I won't have to feel that wound. So it's either I can avoid the wound by not singing at all or by becoming perfect at singing. And in both cases, I'm trying to avoid getting that wound triggered up. And now singing here, you replace that with whatever it is you want. Again, it could be playing football. It could be just being yourself in a room with other people, just natural parts of your expression, certain jokes or ways that you want to be. If you feel like they're kind of risky or dangerous or don't fit in, then that deficiency story will come in and keep it in place. And this is incredibly painful because what it does, it disconnects you from a part of yourself. It disconnects you from that pain, which is a part of yourself, and you're pushing that way down, which is very painful. That comes out sideways in all kinds of ways, addictions and chronic pain and so on. But it forces this really inauthentic mask to come out on top. So that could be, for example, the holding the singing back. You pretend you're not interested in singing. Like, oh, I don't want to sing. No, I'm fine. I'm not interested in that. Right? It's a mask. It's a lie. You want to sing. Or the other way, pushing yourself to sing all the time. That's not what you want to do either. It's driven by that fear of this wound being exposed. You don't want to, push yourself to the limits of your exhaust yourself trying to become perfect at singing. You want to enjoy singing, right? And just have it come through spontaneously, authentically. Neither of these is that. So you've got this very cardboard, inauthentic expression. This is why, as well, like so many of these famous athletes and top performers are so miserable. Like I remember reading an interview with Andre Agassi when he became #1 in the world for tennis. And he said he was so depressed and he was just doing crystal meth, all kinds of things. And this is a story I see repeated in all kinds of like elite athletes. You can look it up. So many of them are so depressed because they've spent their entire lives mechanically avoiding an emotion, a wound, and not realizing they're doing it. And so when they get to the top, it's like, I should feel happy, but they don't, because they've just got to keep going. It's all a bit of an illusion. So this is why this stuff matters, because actually, as we try and escape this wound, we're behaving in inauthentic ways, and we can never find satisfaction in that. The satisfaction is found in life in being yourself as fully as you're able. It's not in achieving some material end. And with the deficiency story, you can never escape the lack, because it's within you. It's like when that deficiency story is driving you to be the best, for example, it's like, if I get enough money, X amount of money, I'll be happy. If I get X amount of success, if I win those awards, I'll be happy. But you never can be, because you're running away from something that is within you, right? It exists within you as a part of you, and it's like you trying to escape yourself. It's like you stand up and run away from yourself. How far have you got away from yourself? Not very far. Doesn't matter how far you run. And so this is why this continues forever. You also see this, I hate to pick on athletes again, but you see this with athletes who like refuse to retire. Right, their bodies can't really do it anymore. They've been pushing their bodies to the limit. They're exhausted and injured, but they keep going, because if they stop, this wound will catch up with them, and it's not going to be pretty. So you can't ever win this way. You're just on a treadmill or trying to run away from yourself forever. So what do you do instead? Well, you learn how to turn around and head back towards the wound and meet that part of yourself that you have disconnected from and are putting all your effort into escaping. So you build your capacity, your connection to your body, to yourself, to go back and rescue that child part of yourself that was stuck back there when you were criticized by your parents, when you were 5 years old or whatever it was. That part of you has been frozen in time, stuck in your body, and you've been running away from it ever since. So you turn around and you go back and you rescue that child. You feel that pain. You contain that pain. With your now adult nervous system, you have enough capacity to go back and hold that part of you and feel it all the way through. And these wounds tend to go deep. It's not an overnight job. Over time, you can chip away at that wound, healing it and healing it, healing through the layers. And then there's a lightness. That lack starts to lift by itself. The deficiency story, the sense that you're weak or not good enough or bad, just starts to lift. And you don't think of yourself as good or bad or worthy or worthless. You just are. You're just yourself in the middle, and then your behavior becomes more authentic and spontaneous, because it doesn't matter so much what the outcome is. You don't have to have as an outcome of your behavior in the world that you achieve something particular so you can escape that wound and be good enough. You can just be yourself and let the chips fall where they may, a little bit more freely. And how do you do that? Well, I work with people one-on-one, helping them with somatic inquiry, giving them the skills and the tools they need to go into their body and meet these frozen parts of ourselves. these wounds and emotions stuck in the body. And you can find out more about that in my other videos and on my website. So if you're feeling that sense of lack in life, if you're feeling you're running, trying to achieve, consider that there's some painful aspect of you hidden way down in the dungeons of your being that is driving you, and it won't ever stop driving you until you meet it. And then you're free to pursue things, but from a more open place. You can still pursue achievement and go for high performance, no question. But it's not so connected to your identity, to your sense of self-worth. You just hold the whole thing a little bit more lightly. And it's well worth the investigation. Whatever work I've done on myself to heal those wounds is worth 100 times, 1,000 times, whatever money, material achievement, success I could have had. All right. Take care. Bye.